YouTubers, Electric Adventures, back from Pax Aus 2013, my very first Pax or video game convention at all. I mean, obviously, never been to a Pax before because it was the very first one in Australia, and never been over to America when the other ones have been on. So I had a little bit of a filter view about what I was going to expect. But in the end had quite a good experience, even though there was not one arcade machine. There were some pinball machines though, and I did have a good game on those. Met up with some great guys from Retro Domination and Retrospect and Retro Collect Australia, I think is the other one. I'll put links down below to all of their channels. They've all got YouTube channels and all websites, and they were running the retro gaming section, which wasn't huge by other convention standards, but it's a start, if you know what I mean. And this was the very first time PAX had been held in Australia, so they didn't know how popular it was going to be, or and how many people would want to come. And boy, were there a lot of people there. Also, on the Saturday, the weather was a bit rainy, so that kept everybody indoors, but they'd prepared for that, and they had covered walkways and everything like that, so it was nice to know they were really well prepared, and all the enforcers did a good job. But it was pretty hard getting into some of the presentations, but I was lucky enough to be able to go and see the second Q&A with the originators of PAX, and that was a lot of good fun. I enjoyed that. After this general ramble I'm going to do now, I do have some short snippets of video and some stills that I took of mainly the retro game area, because that's my main interest, but I did take some stills in other places, and I did a couple of video pan-arounds on the main expo hall. I did forget to actually take some video of the tabletop gaming section, but I do have a couple of stills that will give you a pan around there, but I'm sure there are plenty of other videos. I'll also link to a time-lapse video, which is really cool, that Gregg from Arcade Impossible did. Oh, by the way, I met up with Gregg from Arcade Impossible, flew all the way over from America to attend the event. Met up with Randy from Canada, who brought Retro Tim, one of the guys from Retro Domination, a present from Johnny Millennium, in other words, the Happy Console Gamer, which was a signed poster from the movie and a copy of the insert slip for the fake Master System like game cover that he used in the movie, which was very good of him. But anyway, I had a great time with those guys, and went and got some free Magic cards, and then ended up buying some Magic cards as well. So I got some Magic cards. I haven't played Magic for ages, but if you stood in line and went through a bit of a thing, you've got to pick out particular coloured decks. So I chose red. I used to play red back in the day, and then I ended up buying another red-black starter deck, and I was thinking of having another go at teaching my girls how to play Magic. They have expressed a little bit of interest. Also bought my girls some t-shirts, and I bought myself a t-shirt. So I got a Pax Aus 2013 t-shirt to remember the event by. Now everybody who went got this book here, and yes, I am holding it the right way up, obviously the Down Under reference there, and it's quite a good coloured guide to all of the things. And of course, one of the most exciting things that I actually got to do was I presented a session at PAX, and it was on the rise of homebrew. The general topic being the rise in popularity of retro systems, and the very fact that there is more and more homebrew or new titles for old systems being brought out every day, and that there is an actual market there. It was very well received. met quite a few really good guys afterwards, yeah, it was just great to be part of the inaugural Pax Aus, and you never know, they might want me back next year, and I'd be happy to go. And some of the guys from Retro Domination are actually organising some other conventions, and they suggested, if it's possible and time is right, they might invite me over to do some talks at those ones as well. So I must have sounded okay. Now, Penny Pax and Penny Arcade is all about pins. I didn't line up for too many things, but I did get this pin lining up for one of the magic lines, and I also got this pin here. Sorry about the glare. Also in the magic area, I think. Or am I wrong there? No, it was from one of the indie developers. Yeah, my brain's going. I really would have liked to have time to go around and talk to a few more indie developers, but the expo hall was really packed, so it was extremely hard. But I tried as much as I could, and I got some stage I got handed this Razor lanyard. Everybody who went in got a half brick lanyard. I actually ended up with 2 of those. In your little free bag there was a League of Legends wrist strap thingy, and there were a few brochures and things like that, but I didn't think I'd bother showing those. I also met up with another gentleman who lives in Melbourne and is quite a steadfast collector. He showed me a picture of how his game room setup is going, and he has quite a few consoles. He mainly concentrates on the consoles, and he has quite a large collection of homebrew titles. That's why we got talking. I've been trying to do the FM mod to my Sega Master System Mark 1 that ET1138 brought up recently, but it doesn't work on my Sega Master System Mark 1. Something wrong with it. The system works fine, just the mod won't work. We're talking about that on the Friday, and then on Saturday, out of the blue, he showed up and he gave me a Master System 1. I mean, no cords or hookups or anything, and it does work. I have tested it out. I haven't started the mod yet, and it does have, a little bit of lift on those labels, but I can always switch the tops over too. So that was extremely generous of him, and it blew me away. I had a couple of trade items in my bag, and I couldn't let him go without forcing one on him. It was a hard task too. So really great guy. His name's Harmik. He does have a YouTube channel, which I'll link down below. He hasn't published any videos though, but you never know. He's a really nice guy and a really avid collector of systems and homebrews. He's just been going through the process of switching over from PAL, most of his systems from PAL to NTSC, to get rid of the black borders and get that extra speed out of the games. Something I might look into. I mean, especially now I've got these 2 Mark 1s, I'll definitely be doing the 50-60 Hertz mod on whichever one I get the FN module work. So speaking of the FN module, I will do some video on the actual mod, but that's what one of those FM modules looked like. So I actually have 2 because the guy, really nice guy, who is actually in Australia, was sure that it must have been a faulty one, so he sent me another one, exactly the same problem. So yeah, I'm just going to install it in the second one, take the other one out, restore it back to, all I've got to do is put a capacitor back in, and then send him back the other one. So he's been very helpful guy. So I highly recommend it. And once I get this working, or otherwise, I'll put a video up on the process so you can see all that as well. I don't think I've forgotten anything. I did try and get into some of the other presentations, but the queue was just long. As an example, the queue to Australia's Barjo and Hex and Good Game, which my second daughter really wanted me to go and see for her, and she wanted to actually sneak into my baggage and come along with me apparently, and reckons she's going to come next year with me. But anyway, the line filled up an hour and a half before the session was on, so that shows you how that was. There were a lot of people there, especially on the Friday and Saturday. Sunday was actually a lot more relaxed day. The numbers had gone down a little bit, and it's actually when I took most of the footage in the main expo hall. I tried to on previous days, but it was just too crowded to even move. You couldn't actually get an angle and everything, and I've only got a small handheld camera, so and there are some quite good footage by others, so I'll try and put links to as many of those sort of things at the bottom of this video as possible. Alright, hope you've enjoyed this part of my rambling away about PAX, but I did enjoy myself. I definitely would go back next year if I have the opportunity. And hope you enjoy this little video and still montage. And we might as well chuck in some MSX music while we go.
microphones here. Otherwise, this will be a very short Q&A.
Certainly we will have enjoyed it. But questions are also good.
And go ahead and start on this side over here. Hey.
Hello. So Mike and Jerry, I mean, obviously you talked about lines being crossed and it's happened for